It's time now for American Classics, presented by Original Parts Group, Incorporated. The Pontiac Tempest is an automobile that was produced by Pontiac from 1960 to 1970, and again from 1987 to 1991. The Tempest was introduced as an entry-level compact in September 1960 for the 1961 model year. It was considered a highly innovative design. It shared the new unibody Y platform, GM's first, with the Buick Special Skylark and Oldsmobile F85 Cutlass. They both came with standard 4-cylinder engine and offered a 2-speed rear-mounted transaxle automatic transmission. The line offered the optional Le Mans trim upgrade, beginning with a few 1961 Le Mans coupes and adding a performance aspect in model year 1962. In 1963, the Tempest was redesigned as a mid-size built on the new General Motors A body platform, with its Le Mans version spawning the industry-changing signature muscle car, the GTO. We found these beautiful Tempests in Norwalk, Ohio, at the Ames Performance Pontiac Nationals. Russell Piazza inherited his love of Pontiacs from his father and shared his beautiful Tempest 421 tribute car with us.
Why Pontiac? My father was the Pontiac man. So this car was actually a father-son build, and he just loved this car. He was a Pontiac guy through and through all the years. Passed it on to me. Now I carry the torch ever since he passed. Every inch of the vehicle was done. When we first picked up the car was rotted, rolling, not even a motor in it, no interior, nothing. So the car is pretty much full off restoration. Two parts cars into one car to make what you see here. But all in all, just trying to enjoy it with my family now, my daughter, my wife. The motor is a 428 Pontiac motor. It's 30 over, so that makes it about a 434. Dual quad carburetor, all set up just like the original Super Duty Super Duty cars out of '63. Painted the same color, interior is the same color, everything. So we have the side pipes installed on it, so we can open it up so it sounds like it's running open exhaust. I could also plate it closed, and I could run it through a regular exhaust system, nice and quiet. But of course, this is Pontiac Nationals, and you have to represent, especially being from New York.
Mike Gertis gives a lot of credit to the Little Indian Car Club for helping him with his 1963 Tempest convertible restoration.
Well, I've had the car about 1.5 years, and actually a buddy of mine was a big Pontiac guy. This is the first time I've gotten an older car, and he said, well, if you're gonna get an old car, you gotta get a Pontiac, because Pontiac people are the best. I'm like, all right, I'll buy that. So started looking around at different cars, and the Tempest is kind of unusual, and it kind of fit my personality because it's kind of different, and so that's why I picked it. Well, it was in pretty good condition. It didn't really run well, so right now it's just getting it running as best it can. I had it 1.5 years. I came to Norwalk last year, but it wasn't gonna make it here, so I just came and got some parts and met a lot of the Little Indians folks and got some info, so I've been working on it ever since, and this year it made it, so I was really happy. obviously this is the place to be for Pontiac, and the Little Indians group, which I'm a part of, they're just awesome. They have forums and all the guys are great, because I hadn't worked on a car since I've been in high school. So I started looking at stuff and what's this, how do I do that? And it's a really fun group of people, and they're very helpful, and if you need a part, they're always there to help you out or find it or get you one or something. So it's really made working on this a lot of fun. And I say I've got years of work to go, but you know, so far so good. It's a slant 4 195. When it runs good, it's supposed to be about 115 horsepower. And it's a very unique engine. It's actually half of a V8. So if you take a look inside, you can actually see the ground on one side, because that's where the other half of the V8 goes. It's also got the rope drive in the rear transaxle, which is unique to the, it's totally unique, but one of the cool features of the Tempest. So it's a very unique car. A lot of them have the V8s in them, but this is one of the original Slant 4 models. Well, it was funny driving here to Norwalk yesterday. Every time I stopped for gas, I thought I'm just gonna run in, get some gas and go. That doesn't happen. So each time I stopped, a couple people came up, popped the hood, showed them the engine, because it's kind of unique. So it was a lot of fun, but my 5-hour drive turned into about 6.5. So, but it was worth every minute of it, because people are like, oh my God, I had one of those, or I wanted one, or what is it, that kind of thing. So it's been fun.
American Classics, presented by Original Parts Group, has been brought to you by Low-Car Performance Products. Quality, plain and simple. Z-Max Micro Lubricant, the one product for your engine and fuel system. H-E-N-M Saw, the saw that cuts straight. Craig Mosley said that his mother threw a fit when his dad gave him her 1963 Le Mans.
Dad bought it in May of 1963, gave it to my mother, gave it to her a couple days before her birthday, and we've had it in the family, well, we've had it since then. He had it in his garage in Fairfax, Virginia until around 2005, at which he gave it to me because he wanted space to park a newer car in the garage, and I was interested in it. But I took it home and started restoring it, had the engine rebuilt and the transaxle rebuilt. So, and I've done a few modifications on it with the putting disc brakes on the front so I could stop on my own brakes and know what lane I was going to stop in. In '66, he towed a Airstream trailer, 17-foot Airstream Caravel trailer around the East Coast and Illinois and a few other places with this car.
Don Castile has restored Pontiacs before and kept them pure stock, but not this one. This 1962 Tempest is completely modified, and he loves it.
1962 was the first year for the Le Mans, so the car ends up with both badges, the Tempest and the Le Mans, because the Le Mans was, at that year, was an upgrade on the Tempest. My brother found it on his delivery route while he was working. It was sitting in a gentleman's front yard. He told me about it. I went out to see the car, knocked on the door and asked if it was for sale because it was sitting out in the front yard. The lady said, not really, but let me call my husband. He had 2 daughters. One just graduated and was going to college. The other was a senior, so he needed the cash more than he needed the car. It was a solid body. It had a lot of rust. It had not ran in 5 years. and the floorboards were Swiss cheese. So I had no qualms with this car going the modified route. I own another 62 Tempest that is showroom stock, and I know what it costs to put that 4-cylinder back together in running order. I spent the same amount of money and got a big V8.
Hey guys, Dennis here from Original Parts Group with another Resto Parts product feature. Here we have our 1959 and 60 Cadillac two-door sill plates. These are a new item for Resto Parts. These are die stamped and with a bright dip finish. These are exact to the originals that would have come in the car. They are also a great addition for any interior restoration or if you're just simply replacing the carpet, as these do tend to get beat up from all the traffic from people getting out of the vehicles. Also keep in mind that all Resto Parts products come with a 90-day money-back guarantee. For more information on these items and other great ones, please visit our website at opgi.com or give us a call for a free catalog.
John Ream loves showing off his 1963 Tempest Sports Coupe. We can certainly see why.
Okay, well, I grew up in Clinton, Iowa, across the river from a very famous Pontiac racer named Arnie Beswick. And when I was in high school, I got to see him drive one of the original Super Duty race cars at a Nostalgia Drag event, and I was immediately hooked. I own a 66 GTO, but I always wanted one of these. These are kind of unusual, hard to find cars, and I wanted to build something that looked like the car I saw, a period race car, but I still wanted something I could enjoy and drive around, go to car shows with. So this particular car has got all those kind of features now. It was basically a barn find car, covered in dust and dirt. I've since repainted the car, put a V8 engine in to look like one of the original Super Duty race cars, and really it's a really clean Survivor with a fresh paint job. I have a new engine combination in it that's got a lot of potential, but I have not yet tested it. So it's a Butler built engine that makes about 650 horsepower, and I have yet to take it down the track as I'm trying to kind of build up the confidence. I drive it quite a bit around my hometown and take it to car shows. Kind of a magnet. You know, I have a beautiful 66 GTO, and my friend goes, you know, you took both of them to a show and people are leaning against your GTO to look at this car. What's up with that? And I go, for some reason I can't get it off the trailer without a crowd around me.
Pontiac Nationals is where a lot of people debut their restorations. This is the case with Rick Waters' 1962 Tempest Le Mans he bought in Arizona.
We bought this car in 2012, and it was about a 4-year build and debuted a year ago at this show. So this is the second year that we're racing it here. Well, it had a really good shell. We bought it out of Arizona. It had all the trim pieces, not much rust. It spent most of its time in California as a younger car. We bought it in 2012, started restoration a couple years after that. It's got a full tube chassis, race chassis certified to 650. It's all steel body except for the hood and the deck lid. And it's got a Pontiac engine, a Kaufman Pontiac engine, 500 cubic inch. Runs 940 in the quarter mile at 142 miles an hour. I grew up on Pontiacs. I got my first Pontiac when I was 17, a 1967 Firebird convertible, and I kind of fell in love with them. I currently have another 1967 Firebird, but I've always loved the look of the Tempest, and I thought it would make a great race car, so decided to build one with my son. The car actually, we did a hot rod shoot a couple weeks ago for Hot Rod Magazine, and it gets a lot of attention at the drag strips. Everybody seems to love the car. Haven't won any wars with it yet, but I'm sure in time.
American Classics, presented by Original Parts Group, is being brought to you by ARP, Automotive Racing Products, proudly made in the USA, the world leader in fastener technology. Appalachian Backroads. Visit AppalachianBackroads.com for your free map of 14 curvy routes with over 1,500 miles for your driving pleasure. H-E-N-M Saw, the saw that cuts straight. Dave Smith's love of drag racing came from his dad, and that's why he restored this 1963 Le Mans, exactly like his dad had it in his race days.
Well, this was my dad's old race car. He built it for drag racing, and when he died in '08, I inherited it. And I actually inherited two cars. Another was a Le Mans convertible, and my wife is the one that said we should restore this one first because it was more unique. And she was right. So we ended up restoring this one basically to the way my dad raced it. Same engine, same drivetrain and everything. I made a few tweaks to make it more showable and more streetable, but otherwise it's the exact same way he raced it. Like I said, it was her decision or her idea to restore this one first. And she was there giving ideas at the shop and letting us know what her opinion might be as far as how things should go. So she was very involved with the restoration. That was what my dad had named it. And when he was racing it, he would just put blue tape on the door for the name. So all I did was put a sticker on the rear fender. So yeah, that's what my dad named it. I basically just drive it around town and scare the neighbors. But otherwise, I just take it to car shows and show it as a piece of racing nostalgia.
Bill Gallagher believes that his 1965 Tempest Safari wagon has the ultimate lines and perfect style of any automobile.
I've been looking for one for a long time, a wagon, and I found this, believe it or not, on ClassicCars.com. It popped up one day because I'm always searching, and as soon as it popped up, I called the guy immediately down in Charleston, South Carolina. I live in Maryland, and I told him I wanted to buy the car. He gave me a price. I said, hold it. I'm leaving with my truck and trailer tomorrow morning. He promised to hold it, and then I brought it home, and I was so excited about it. Drove it around, had a 326 in it, and after a couple of 3 months of driving it around, I went ahead and started tearing it completely down and completely rebuilt it. Tore everything out from underneath of it, took the engine out. All the interior was still original. I didn't have to touch the interior. The body was immaculate. Had a little bit of small issues with it, but I went ahead and had it repainted, and I completely rebuilt a 455 motor and put 2 4s on it, and then tore it all down and took the automatic out and put a 4-speed in it, and I put some original American racing wheels on it and made it original for the period correct time. And it's just unbelievable car to have. I put electric cutouts on it, and I've had so many compliments on this car and people loving it that it's probably one of the best cars I've ever had. I drive it every now and then. I'll take it to car shows, local car shows. If it's a long distance like here, I trailered it. It doesn't have AC or air conditioning, so I don't want to drive in the heat too much. But yeah, I take it to local car shows and things like that. I'll pull into a car show and I'll turn on the electric cutouts, and it sounds like a drag car, race car coming in. It's fun. I got lots of people that gather around it and just love it. I have people always ask me, "Is it for sale? You want to sell it?" And I'm kind of hesitant to say yes, but I want to keep it for a while. Yeah, enjoy it for a while.
Was looking for a car like this because my father had one when I was 16 years old, and that's the car I got to drive. He was a mail carrier in northern Illinois, and I went looking for one of these, and I found it down in southern Ohio, and I brought it back to northern Illinois where I live, and been working on it ever since. The paint was really rough. There wasn't any rust in it really, except around the rear fender wells a little bit, and we got that all welded back in and completely redid the body and stripped it all down and painted it all and got it all back together. And
working really good now. I want to do a little more updating in the engine compartment, change the alternator and the bracket for this power steering I want to change and stuff. It needs a little front end work yet, but other than that way, it's in good shape. It still has a transaxle. It's the automatic transaxle, so it's a 326. It's been built. The engine was built when it came to me. I don't really know a whole lot who built it or whatever. It's really solid and it runs really strong. It's got a pretty lopey cam in it and everything. So we go to a lot of car shows up in northern Illinois, and of course we come out here to Norwalk, and we do another one in St. Charles, Illinois. It's a Pontiac show. And other than that, like about every weekend we're going to a show somewhere. And I drive it pretty hard. So everybody's always, especially up around me, there isn't another one in northern Illinois like this. So everybody kind of says, wow, I haven't seen any of those for years.
That's all for this week's American Classics, presented by Original Parts Group Incorporated. Join us next week. We'll be back in Norwalk, Ohio to take a look at some Pontiac Grand Prix.